Hi and welcome to our video on area basics. This is the first video in a series of short videos around area. Alright, so what is the area? The area is the amount of surface within the boundary of a shape or a figure. So that's space within a boundary, within a figure. We call that the area. And it's measured in square units. So you can see down here, we've got square millimeters, square centimeters, square meters, square kilometers. They're the units that we're actually measuring. And when we're actually measuring in these units, if we need to convert these units, we can use a conversion chart similar. You can see here, similar to the length conversion chart. And we'll see here, if we're going from millimeters to centimeters to meters to kilometers, the actual number that we're converting by is the same, the base number. The only difference is now we need to actually square that number. So the conversion is actually of the square of the length unit. And if we have a look at the example down here, 52 centimeters into millimeters, centimeters squared into millimeters squared. So we're going from centimeters squared here, and we're going to millimeters squared. So we need to times by 10 to the power of 2. So that equals 52 times 10 squared. Well, 10 squared is 100, so it's 52 multiplied by 100. That equals 5,200 millimeters squared. Right, so we need to make sure we put the right units in. That's really, really critical. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is just your setting out with area questions. I want you to follow these steps when you're setting your work out, and it's going to make life a lot easier for you and a lot easier for people that need to read your work. First of all, we're going to draw a labeled diagram. And we need to make sure all the measurements on these diagrams are of the same type. So we need to convert any lengths. So we need to use a conversion chart to convert these lengths. Secondly, we're going to write the formula of the area that of the shape that's being calculated. Okay, so we're going to put that formula in so we can actually use that as the base for our calculations. The third step we're going to substitute our lengths in that are on the shape that we're calculating. Right, from the diagram basically. And the last thing, we're going to calculate the answer. And really, when we calculate the answer, we're going to make sure we write the correct answer with the correct units as well. Okay, and I'll show you those examples in a couple of slides time. But basically, in short, we're going to call it diagram, formula, substitute, calculate. Really, really simple, really, really easy to remember. And we can follow this. Hopefully, it'll make understanding what we're doing a lot easier. All right, let's have a look at a couple of examples of areas. We've got area of a rectangle. So basically, a rectangle is we probably know what a rectangle is. A polygon with opposite sides that are parallel and equal in length, and all the internal angles are 90 degrees. A square is the same, but a square is just a rectangle with equal sides. So they're the same there. If we have a look at this rectangle here, we've got 3 by 4 units, and this is where we can identify those squares. You can see that if we break it up into the smaller units, so 3 units in rows and 4 columns, 4 units, we count all these squares and we can end up with square units. Now the formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width. We probably already know that. And we multiply these two together to get our 12 units squared here. Okay, so let's have a look at finding the area of a rectangle of the example that we've got here. And we're going to follow the 4 steps. Now the diagram's there. I'm not going to draw the diagram for this one because it's there. But then we're going to put our formula. So the area equals length times width. So we can use our shorthand or our variables there, our letters. Okay. Next is our substitute. So the area equals 13 times 9. So our area equals 13 times 9, and if we calculate that, that equals 13 times 9 is 117, and our units here are centimeters, and they're squared units, so 117 centimeters squared. Next one we're going to look at is the area of a triangle. The area for a triangle is half the base times the height, or you can actually write that area equals base times height divided by 2. I tend to like the second way. I think it's a little bit easier to calculate without multiplying by half. But you can choose which way you want. Either way, it's exactly the same representation. All right, so if we look at our example here, you'll see that we've got find the area of this triangle. So we've got the base, which is 10, and the height, which is 6.8. So first of all, we've got the same unit, so we don't need to convert. So our area equals base times height divided by 2. All right, I'm now going to substitute in. So that is the base is 10 times the height, which is 6.8, and we're going to divide by 2. And now we're going to calculate that out. So that's 68 divided by 2. So the area equals 34 meters squared. And if we have a look at this, we've got our diagram here, diagram there, we've got our formula, and then we've got our substitute, and then we do our calculate here. And you can see with the calculate we've got our correct units. So that's the 4 steps that I spoke about in the previous slides. All right, thanks for watching that area basics video, and we'll see you in our next video.